Hi, and welcome back to Dave Does It. I'm Dave. Well, I do things. So today we have our Bandit SG40 stump grinder here, and we're doing our pre-season maintenance, right? So we just pulled it out from sitting all winter, gave it a nice pressure wash, and we're going to remove the side covers and adjust the belts. So right here we have the tension gauges that we purchased from Gates, and we're going to follow the procedure in the manual for adjusting the belts. So we have to remove this side cover, and then there's another side cover over on this side. And we'll adjust both belts, give a quick walkthrough, and then go over the procedure in the manual. Alright, well I have my 13mm ratchet wrench here. This is my preferred method just because of the location of some of the bolts. We're going to start taking the bolts out of the side covers here to expose our drive belts. Once all the bolts are removed, we can pull off the side cover. You'll want to inspect your belts for wear, and then follow the adjustment procedure in the manual. So according to my manual, our belt needs to be adjusted to 16 pounds of force at 1/4 inch of travel. So to measure that and to set that, we're going to take our swing pin out, if I can. And this is going to allow us to swing the cutter head out of the way, away from the hydraulic cylinder, so we can get our tensioning tool in there, right? So we're going to swing the cutter head out of the way, and then we'll apply pressure with our tensioning tool, right? So we're going to go ahead and get our base set up. So our tensioning tool, on the bottom we could set span, right? We know our span's 1/4 inch, that's what our adjustment is. So I'm going to move these bottom O-rings to 1/4 inch. And then I like to use a piece of string. So I have a piece of string here. I'm going to go ahead and wrap it around the belt and clamp it with this little squeeze clamp. And what this is going to do is it's going to give me a baseline for my travel distance. So I'll just run this around the top edge of the belt. Clamp it in there. It's on the bottom, right? So as we deflect the belt, the string's going to stay stationary. So since we're using the double barrel gauge, we're going to apply pressure till both sides read 8 pounds, and then see how much travel we have. So we'll move the cutter head out of the way, if I can get in here. We're going to apply pressure, about 1/4 inch. And what do we have? We're a little light. I'm going to do that one more time. Okay, I got the string moved so we can get a proper measurement. Our lower O-rings are spaced at 1/4 inch. So I'm going to come in here and apply pressure to the belt that flex 1/4 inch, which is right there, and come back and see where we're at on our pound gauge. So we're about 10 pounds. So we're going to go ahead and adjust our tensioner pulley and then measure again until we get the proper reading. Now to adjust the tensioner on this machine, you're going to need 2 9/16 wrenches. There's 4 bolts that hold the tensioner in place. We're going to loosen those 4. And then the lower adjusting bolt is just that. It's a bolt on a slide fixture that's double nutted. So we got to break the double nut loose, break all our tensioner bolts loose, and then we'll apply a little pressure to the belt. Now once you have the 4 tensioner adjustment bolts loose and the adjustment bolt itself loose, we can go ahead and adjust our tensioner. Now I know it's hard for you guys to see in the camera angle, but we moved the whole tensioner assembly down about 1/8 of an inch. You can see wear marks for where the washers used to be. So what I do now, since I'm mid-adjustment and we have to check our belt tension, I'm going to go ahead and tighten up just the top 2 bolts to pull the tensioner back flat. Yep, that looks good. So we'll go ahead and take our double barrel gauge. We're still set at 1/4 inch. And now we're at right under 10 and right at 10. So that's a little too much. So we're going to go ahead, loosen our bolts back up, and take just a hair out of the tensioner here. About half a turn. Tighten the top bolts back up. And now we're ready to measure again. So we reset the O-rings on the spring pressure. Right at 1/4 inch. And we got 8 and 8. So that's right where we need to be. So now this belt is properly adjusted to 16 pounds at 1/4 inch. So we can go ahead and tighten up all of the rest of our tensioner bolts and our lock nut. Once you have your tensioner all fully adjusted and retightened, we're going to go ahead and remove our string. And hook our swing cylinder back up. We're going to come over here to the hydraulic pump, measure this tension the exact same way. We're going to still use our string, but this time we have a single barrel belt tensioner. So we'll do the same thing. We'll set our span or travel adjustment on the lower O-ring, and then see how many pounds of force it takes to get to that distance. So I'm going to look in the manual and see what my belt adjustment is, and then we'll get started. Okay, so my belt for my hydraulic drive belt needs to be adjusted to 5 pounds at 3/16 of an inch travel. So I'm going to go ahead and get my string all set up. And once you have your string placed, we're ready to set that adjustment on our tensioning tool. So this says 3/16, so that's the base measurement, and then 5 pounds. And we're right there. 3/16 of travel, 5 pounds of pressure. So this belt's good. We don't have to mess with that. So once you get all your main drive belts adjusted, you know, we checked our hydraulic drive, we checked our cutter head from the clutch to the jack shaft. Now we'll go around to the other side and remove the cover to adjust the belt for the main cutter head. So that'll be from the jack shaft to the cutter head itself. Okay, on this side it's a lot of the same. So we're still using our 13mm or 1/2 inch ratchet wrench, and we're going to take all the bolts out of this side cover. Now for me personally, I like unbolting the side skirt here, or our chip guard, and that way I'll let that hang under the machine so we're not all clogged up with the side housing here. That way we could go scrape it out, clean up some of the grease, get it out of our way, and then the skirt's just going to hang here. Just like that. And there's our belt. A little bit of debris, a little bit of belt slippage, a lot of grease. That don't feel so bad. So again, we're going to check our manual, see what the proper belt adjustment is, and then we'll check the tension and adjust the belt as necessary. Okay, so the tension my machine wants is 27 pounds at 7/16 of an inch. So we can't get that technical because we have a pretty archaic slide gauge here, but we can get close. So if we're around 13, 14 pounds per side, we're going to call that good. So I'm going to get my string set up here. Okay. Now we're able to take our base reading. I'm going to get under here so I can see the string. I'm going to set my span to 7/16. And we're at about 22 pounds. So we're going to go ahead and adjust the belt. Pretty much the exact same setup. We have 4 tensioner retainer bolts we have to loosen up, and then 1 adjustment bolt on the top. Same deal. I'm going to tighten up 2 bolts. And then recheck our reading. $11 and $15. 26 pounds. So I just got to go just a little bit more. There we go, about 13 and 14, or 14 and 15-ish. So I'd say that's in the ballpark. So we have 7/16 deflection with 27 pounds of force. So this belt is now properly adjusted. I gotta go ahead and I'll tighten up the rest of my tensioner retaining bolts. And then what I usually do, and I recommend to you as well, is while these covers are off, I'm going to go through and I'm going to clean all the debris and the old grease and all that stuff out of here. I'll probably take it outside and pressure wash it. But now you have a basic understanding of how to adjust the belts on your SG40 or your ZT. Just make sure that you refer to your operating manual, because your belt adjustment might be slightly different than mine. So again, guys, I thank you for joining in. Remember, kindness is free. It doesn't cost you anything to be a decent person, and try to inspire.